Hello. Welcome back to Life of the Germ. Good album of the week. There's some Slight Glare. J. Cole. Off season. Let me set this up quick. Oh. I realize I haven't been doing like a song of the week as of late. So kinda wanted to plug with that. Hold on. Yeah, let's do a quick song of the week because I don't think I've really done that much. Song of the week is gonna be off the album of the week, right? I think that's a good place to start. So, song of the week, off of the off season, great album. Just J. Cole spitting bars for like over 30 minutes. I get it's got to go to interlude though. Just something short, something sweet. We're gonna go to interlude. It was like the first single off the album before he released it, which is just like kind of just a flex because you're dropping the interlude before as like the single, whereas like every other musician always drops like their best song, and he's just dropping the interlude, and it's like I would consider it like one of the best on the album, which is kind of crazy. But anyways, just flew back home probably like 4 hours ago, home as in like Denver, and ran a ton of errands. I actually ran out of contacts, so I've just been like rocking the glasses for the past couple weeks. Not too bad actually. I thought it'd be worse. I did go snowboarding last like on Thanksgiving actually, and I had to wear glasses for snowboarding. That was a little painful just because fitting like my got like the I don't know what you even call like I'll just call it the goggles. That's probably really wrong, but like the thing that goes over like your eyes in like snowboarding or skiing, like it like barely fit my frames of my glasses. So that was kind of miserable, and they got fogged up quite a bit. But yeah, so I got an eye appointment set up. Did all this like other junk that probably you don't want to hear about. One thing that is relevant though is like I've been meaning to get my flu vaccine quite a bit. And it's already December, so I feel like it's a little late to be honest. But um, I went and did that after like all my errands, and thank God, like actually, because I swear that needle went in my arm, and I'm actually on Mars right now. like I actually feel like I'm on another planet. I don't know what that was all about. I'm sure this vaccine is um like gonna just hit me like a bulldozer tonight. I'll probably wake up and just have an insane fever, but that needed to get done. And I mean, since I'm an immunologist, like I figure before we get into the wisdom of the week, I just spit some immunology at you guys a little bit. So for everyone that doesn't know, I'm gonna like do a little vaccine education here. So basically, I'm not gonna talk about like other kinds, like the COVID vaccine or like other vaccines. They differ, right? There's different. I guess you could say there's different flavors of them, different strategies to give you some sort of like foreign agent, in the form of like some sort of microbe, right? Like a piece of a microbe is usually how it works. And for the flu vaccine specifically, it's an inactivated vaccine. So what that means is basically like scientists have grown it up in large quantities so they can like split it up into single doses of vaccines to give to millions of people around the world. Um, and what they do is actually so they grow it up to large numbers. So in the case of flu virus, it's different for different viruses, but for influenza specifically, they'll actually infect or inoculate like um, administer like live virus in chicken eggs. So what that will do is the virus is capable of going inside of these chicken cells, and then that's where it'll replicate. It'll replicate inside those cells, and then basically you can extract the cells and like lyse them, and then collect all the virus from that. And in this point, in this step, the virus is actually still live. So if I were to like breathe it in at that step, like I would still get it. But then after that, they go through this process of like inactivation where they just kill the virus, right? And like just totally inactivate it so it's not infectious anymore. But what they'll do is they'll actually extract all the virus particles that are, dead or inactivated. And from there, then what you can do is you can basically isolate those pieces and then you put it into individual vaccines. And then from there, you still have the particle, right? But you don't have a replicating virus. So like then it goes into my arm like it did like an hour ago. And, the virus will sort of just sit. I mean, it'll get kind of trafficked throughout your body because your immune system will treat it like any other foreign thing. And from there, what actually happens is then this is where the importance of vaccines really comes in. And I think anyone that knows like a baseline level of vaccines probably knows this, but our bodies are really cool. And like pretty much almost any animal has this. It's called not every animal, but most of them have what's called like an adaptive immune response. So this is an immune response that's like very specific to whatever is coming into your body. So in the case of this flu vaccine, it's going to be these cells that are going to expand in your body, so replicate a bunch. Like these are all your cells. They're going to replicate a ton, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, we have the flu virus." And they're going to replicate to really high numbers. And then they realize like slowly but surely that like the vaccine's not really a threat because like the virus isn't replicating. So like any other, even if it was alive or dead, like in this case it's dead, but in both cases, like what will happen is then this stage of like contraction happens where like this cell really specific for the flu, like will just contract and they'll all sort of die off because they're not really needed, right? The threat is gone. Like it's contained, right? It's a dead virus. Nothing's going on. But after this like contraction occurs, there's this special population of these immune cells specific for flu called memory cells. And these cells, like as the term kind of goes, like remember that virus and remember how it looks, you could say, right? And some of these cells can literally last your entire life, which is super cool. And they just kind of like stay in your body, throughout your body. Some of them go back to the bone marrow, but like they really just stay in your body and are just like kind of waiting for the next thing to come, right? And then let's say that exact virus actually does infect you. Say it infects me like 2 months later because like the flu is going around, like it's going to be flu season coming up. Then those cells remember, and you already have those cells, and they're really fast acting, much faster acting than the first response, right? Like the first response takes a little while to figure out what it is. If it's the same virus, it's going to just take it out so much faster. And the common misconception about vaccines is that it's not going to prevent you from getting sick, right? Like, or getting infected. Like you'll still get infected, right? But like your symptoms, and you might still get like a cough, something small, right? But your symptoms are going to be drastically minimized compared to if you actually just got if you saw the virus for the first time, right? And like people always ask me, they're like, okay, but how, everyone knows that there's different strains of virus, right? Like how do they know which strain is going to come for this flu season? And to be honest, that's like something that's like, we're really not all that like familiar with. Like we do, like scientists do their best to predict, but like, I think they only get it right like a third of the time. So it's like, it's still really good to get it because if they do get it right and then that virus circulates, like you'll be fine, right? You might get like a cough, like a really small fever, but like you're not going to get like full on flu symptoms, which is just kind of miserable. How they do it is actually like the seasons are flipped. So like countries like in Australia is a really good predictor. So like they'll experience flu viruses like 6 months ahead of us just because how the seasons are flipped there, I think. And from that, like scientists will gauge, okay, like do we think this virus will come to the United States or, wherever the other hemisphere upon flu season? And usually that's what they base it on. But it is 6 months and viruses really do like to mutate, and they can mutate enough where like your immune system will just recognize it as a totally different virus. So it's not 100% effective, right? I mean, no vaccine is, but like it's definitely worth taking. And yeah, that's kind of the rundown. It's kind of like pretty long tangent, but hope you guys got something out of that. But anyways, I went back for Thanksgiving this week. I actually flew out Friday to go back to my hometown in Oshkosh because um, Denver Denver flights were just so expensive. I booked Thanksgiving way too late, so I just decided to go actually Friday to Monday, and then me and my family just celebrated Thanksgiving on Friday instead. And um, yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed that and got to catch up with a lot of the day ones, a lot of my homies back home. We had a good time. We had a good time. But I think I more so came on here to talk about the wisdom of the week. I haven't had a chance to get on here in a couple weeks, just with the holidays and stuff coming up. So wanted to hop on here as soon as I could. So judging by the title of the episode, the first half I want to get right down to business is just the let her rip half. And I decided to kind of split this into two because I think they're unrelated but also related concepts that kind of fit in the same bubble. So that's kind of how I'm gonna do it. But yeah, the let her rip mindset is very, very straightforward, right? And this is something that, like, now that I've had a couple days off of work, I'm like I'm ready to let it rip, right? And like I think you can apply this not even just for work, but a lot of pretty much all aspects of your life, right? I think for me what this means is sort of like, you know, I think and I actually just re-listened to my Life of the Germ like New Year's episode called 2024 where I kind of like recapped my year of 2023. I just listened to this, so it's kind of fresh on my mind. And like one thing that really came into my mind was just like that I like talk about over and over again is like really questioning like people that say they want to do something, but then they have this, you see it doesn't reflect in their actions, right? They always want to do this. They say they want to do it, but they never actually follow through. And there's this sort of like hesitancy. And I kind of like call these people like people that are like all talk, right? Like they'll say they'll do something, but it's like, okay, you're all talk. You're not actually going to do it, right? So I think a lot of times in this talk, it's kind of like, they really mean well, right? They do actually really want to do whatever they say they're going to do. But what is the hesitancy behind that? And I think part of that is just like unknown, you don't know what the outcome is going to look like. That to a lot of people like is kind of leaves people feeling restless and just like hesitant about it. Otherwise, maybe they do know the outcome. Maybe they know, like, say you want to get jacked in the gym, right? To get to that point, you're going to have to go through a lot of discomfort and a lot of just, messing up your muscles every day in the gym to really like a lot of burning and a lot of soreness to get to that point, right? So it can be a number of reasons, but I think no matter what the reason is, I think in that episode, I really talked about honing in on what the reason is. But honestly, let her rip mindset is really more so aimed at just like, who even cares about the reason? Honestly, I feel like if you're scared of that thing, whatever you're scared of, I think, or fear, or it gets your heart racing a lot, like ahead of time before you even do it, I think that's something that you need to chase, because that's something that like you don't want to do, but it's like if you even attempt it, you're going to learn so much more about yourself, and you're going to gain that experience, right? And that's one more experience in your life that you can say, yeah, I did that, and as a result, I'm a more well-rounded and mature individual, right? And I think I've been trying to do more of that a lot. I have, of course, like when you try new things and you push yourself, like you're gonna have moments like that where your heart's just like boom, 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 but you just do it because you're just letting it rip, and that I really think is how, like, the best way to live, right? And it sounds really counterintuitive because you go into these moments so scared, and you're like, your body, every muscle in your body is resisting that, whatever that thing is. But like on the other side of that, you often find that those are the times when you feel most alive, right? When you're like, I don't want to do it, but you can actually, like, I don't know. I've talked I think recently on here about feeling sort of numb and just like every day feels the same. These are the times that like are very uncomfortable, but uncomfortability is definitely doesn't make you feel numb, right? You feel something when you're uncomfortable, right? And I think that's really like the let it rip mindset. It's just, and I got this from the Bear. Shout out the Bear. It's a like the Hulu show about like this Carmy. He's a chef, and yeah, he dealt with some abuse when he was like learning to become like this professional chef, and I don't want to. I don't. This isn't really a spoiler, but like one thing his brother always told him was like, I think it was his brother. His brother always told him like, Carmi, you just gotta let it rip, you know. And no matter what the consequence is, you just rip it. You just let it rip and find out, and you just see what's happening, what's gonna happen on the other side. And I'm gonna get into this more in my 2025 episode. I'm really excited to share that with you guys. But a big thing for me lately has just been trying, man. I really think there is this secret to life where people look at it anything. If you attempt it, it's either you fail or succeed. But I really see trying, just the art of trying, no matter, I think it's either you try or you don't try. And those are equivalent to fail and success. I think if you try, you always succeed, because no matter what, even if you quote unquote fail after trying, you still learn something, right? You don't learn jack from not doing it, right? So that's kind of the let it rip mindset, sort of like summed up in a nutshell. But the other half of the episode, energy, is kind of focused on this idea that I think I've picked up lately of I'm gonna shout out my boy. He's a DJ in Milwaukee, Reciprocal Rhythms. Shout out Man Moorhead for the one time, because his actually name, that's his DJ name, like makes me kind of think of this concept that I'm gonna like talk to you about quick. And it gets at and I bring up reciprocal rhythm because it gets at this idea of like reciprocating energy. And I think you guys have probably heard this, but I think it really spoke volumes to me. And I think it was definitely worth sharing. So I wanted to share it to you guys. And it just gets at this idea, like, so let's say I meet someone, right? And the first few times I'm going to be myself. I'm going to give them all this energy. I'm usually a very like pretty outgoing, pretty like energetic, positive person, right? I'm going to give them all that energy, make them feel super comfortable, super welcome, show them my, the best parts of me, right? Hoping that they do the same, right? And in return, if what you get is this low level energy that you can just tell is, whether voluntary or involuntarily, like something they're consciously doing to you, or something that, they're just not bringing the same amount of energy to the table that you are. Like, I have this like trial period, right, in the beginning where I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to feel this out. And maybe they're nervous, whatever. I'm going to let it go. But after multiple times of hanging out with, whoever this person is, if I don't get any energy back in return, or I don't feel like they're putting in any effort, like, I immediately go to their level. And, I'm up here, they're down here. After the first few times of hanging out, if they're still down here and it's just like low, like just junk levels of energy, I leave the hangout, I'm not feeling great because they're just in the dumps, I'm going to go down here with them and I'm going to meet them I'm going to put in just as much energy as they're putting in and nothing more, because it's just not, I've realized it's just not worth my time to deal with people like that. Like, and honestly, like, funny enough, like in Wisconsin, I had this come up a little bit in college, not really in high school much. Like a lot of the people there, like, were really like, just brought that energy to the table for me. But especially out here, man, I don't know if it's just big city living or what it is, but sometimes you get this low return on investment where there's just low energy. There isn't that much effort being put in, and I'm gonna dish it out right back. And I'm going to, and that's not a selfish thing to do. I think it's actually healthy, because you're kind of sort of respecting yourself in a way. Like, I'm not going to put in all this effort if they're not even going to try, and like and how these two really fit together, this let it rip mindset and like this energy, is really that when you quote unquote let it rip, there's going to be people in your life that really are going to make a difference in this, right? You can take on these tasks all by yourself, but I've really found is that other people can make a world of difference if you have them, and they, they provide the support and like the energy that you need to like overcome these really tough challenges, that whatever you might have set for yourself, like goal wise, right? And I think that's really important, is recognizing those people and recognizing and staying conscious and reflecting, are these people in my life, especially during these really tough times that I'm going through, are they reciprocating that energy to me? And if they're not, then give them the same energy that they're giving to you, because it's not worth it. And I can tell you then, what you can do is you can save that energy that you didn't spend on these people who actually really aren't really adding any value to your life. You can take this extra energy and you can stick it into the people that actually give a crap about you and actually really, really care about you. And with those two combined, man, it's game over. You really start to hone in on these people that are like, these are my people. This is the energy I'm looking for to get fired up every day. And suddenly you find yourself going into these really like difficult challenges with, wait, I actually feel invincible because I have these people that are, reciprocating that energy at the same level. And you quite honestly feel invincible. Like there's nothing that you can't do. And like it's extraordinary, quite honestly. And I think that's kind of the rundown for you guys. And I hope you guys were able to take away from something from this. If there's any, something in your life that you're just really wanting to like, you're like, well, I don't know, maybe that's too hard. Really just don't even think about the consequences sometimes. Sometimes you just have to do it and find out. And then if it's kind of like, most of these challenges are going to involve other people, right? A lot of these, maybe they start as solo endeavors, but like you're going to need other people along the way. Like the cringy saying always goes like, it takes a village, right? And like that is like, it's so corny, but it's so true. Like you need other people to support you, and other people that aren't just going to be like your fake supporters, right? Because there are people out there that will cast this sort of, this energy that I'm describing, but it's fake, and you can tell it. You can feel it in here that it's fake. And from that, you got to steer away from that. You got to steer away from the people that are just low level, and just get to this point where you're high energy, you're with high energy people. You guys are feeding off each other, and you're out there just like getting better together. And with that, I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'll catch you in the next one.